new customers, folks just joining into Ovtlyr, whether you're on a trial membership or have moved into subscriber status, you come in and you're kind of wondering, where on earth do I go next? And most people just want to know, what stocks do I buy? Well, there's a bit to learn before you get to what stocks do you buy. And so let's have a look at where you might start. When you joined, you received a welcome email. It would say community member guidance on the top. And in this, you get some visual references for some items we're going to point out during this orientation. The first screen you get to on the right-hand side is the user guide. We're going to find out how to access that user guide. And the way you do that is go to ovtlyr.com, which you're familiar with. That's how you got here, right? You're familiar with this, and you're going to click on the My Account button. And William, let me know you can see my mouse moving around there.
Yeah, I can see everything.
Perfect. So once you click on My Account, it's going to bring you right into the dashboard. And this is what you see Chris use when he's going to check SPY. He's going to check a ticker that he's interested in. He's looking for things like the heat map and market breadth and all that sort of stuff. This is the landing screen, essentially. But what we're interested in is to find out more about the software and to get some definitions of terms and things like that. And you find that, again, in that welcome guidance, it talks about this gear here, and it says settings once you hover over it. Inside settings, you have documentation. When you click on that, it's going to pop up this user guide. And again, you get some visual references. It talks about going to that My Account, logging in, and then it gets into what each item is. Like, for instance, if you wanted to add a ticker as a favorite, you can use this star function right here. You can even create new lists. You can have a favorite list. You can have a, my favorite ETFs or my favorite, let's see, I don't know, material sector stocks even. You can make as many lists as you want to and put your tickers in there. And that's going to make it easy to go find those in the future and do a one-shot glance to say, do I have a buy signal or a sell signal on those tickers? But it's also going to go more in depth on some items that maybe wouldn't be so intuitive. Like in the dashboard, you're going to see these icons here, and you're going to get definitions for those icons. It talks about this first box with the S. It's defining that as a red box with an S, meaning sell signal. For this particular ticker, there would have been a sell signal. If it's green, it's got to be with a buy signal. So this box would be green with a buy. Tells you the Ovtlyr channel status or the Donchian channel status. They're the same thing. So again, a lot of folks come and ask about this, and so it's called out specifically in the user guide to kind of help you out. And you can come back and reference it later. So have a look at the user guide. A lot of your questions end up answered in here. And again, you can check this as many times as you want. When you hear Chris talk about the heat map, there's a whole section here discussing what the heat map values are, what the colors are, how you read this graph. And that'll help you really understand when Chris is talking about the heat map in the live streams, what it is he's getting at. And you'll become super familiar with it as you use it moving further. So that's the user guide. Going back to that welcome email, there's another call out here, and this is how you get into Discord. When you first access Discord, you're going to need to click on that Discord button right here, the little Xbox controller. The trick is, though, you're only going to use that the first time. As soon as you click on that Discord button, it's going to have you work through the verification process. Let's see, here's the verification process described in that same email you got as a new customer. The key to that verification is you need to use the email address that you signed up for on the My Account page. So the same exact email address you used right there. If you can't remember which one you used, you can just hop into Profile. Down here at the bottom, you have Profile. But like I said, you only have to use that that Discord button the first time. After that, You can do like I did, where I put it in my taskbar. So when I want to access Discord, I just go to my taskbar. You can also search for it using the search bar at the bottom. Okay, so got through that guy. The next thing is, where do you get your resources? Things like the slide deck, the portfolio manager, your indicators for TradingView or Thinkorswim. Where do you get those? If we hop over to Discord here, you should see a ton of channels on the left-hand side. Now, one of the most important ones is FAQ and member contributions. So if you click on that, it's going to open up all the resources. You've got the slide deck here. So let's go ahead and open that up and see what that looks like. As soon as you click on it, you get the link on the right. And that pops up in the same exact slide deck that you see Chris use during the live streams. There's there's nothing going on in the background. There's nothing hidden. Everything is right out there for you. And so he talks about when he used Plan M, when he would use Plan ETF, and when he would sit in cash. We see him refer to the exit signals first, because again, once you're in, you want to reduce your risk as soon as you can. So that's why exit signals come first. And then he goes into, what is the market telling you? What are the Plan M signals? And again, all his information is here: position sizing, options liquidity criteria. This is certainly going to be a foreign concept as you're a new customer, so don't feel overwhelmed. You're essentially trying to learn a second language when you get into trend trading, any stock trading for that matter. So take it slow, do some paper trading, and work on your plan. We'll see a lot of folks take Chris's plan and adjust it, which is to say, maybe they want to trade ETFs, and so they'll start with this plan, and they'll make some adjustments along the way as they learn how they're most comfortable with trading and what their risk tolerance is. So what else can we find in that FAQ and member contribution section? We have outlier plan trading. We have the user's guide. So it's the same exact user's guide that we showed you a second ago through the Outlier website. Goes to the same page. There's the portfolio manager here. There is a section for TradingView. So inside TradingView, that's where you get your indicators. When you see Chris doing live streams and he's running charts, he will go into TradingView. And our technical genius, DT, who's in the audience with us here, he put a lot of work into some indicators here, and also linked in some tutorials showing how to use indicators with TradingView. Again, 2 separate tutorials here, how to draw. The first indicator we come to is the value zone indicator. So if we were to click on that guy, it'll open up TradingView for us, and you're going to see a button right here that's going to look a little different. It's going to say add to favorites. Once you've added it, it says remove from favorites, but for you it's going to say add to favorites. So you just click that and then use this button here that says use on chart. So once we open up a ticker here, let's see, where's the launch chart button? Where's the launch chart button, William?
So I think if you just click use on chart, it may actually do it for you. There we go.
Awesome. So let's just hide that watch list for a second. Okay, so you'll notice that we have some colors here, some lines here, and they were automatically populated. That's part of that indicator. So the value zone indicator is right here. And that's used with Plan ETF. If we go back to the Plan ETF entries here, it talks about the price, whether you're on Qs or SPY, the price needs to be between the 20 and 2 ATR above the 20. And that's kind of a odd concept when you're first starting to figure it out. But all it's saying is look inside this green area. That's the easiest way to understand it. So this tells you today, for instance, the SPY price is way down here at 198. It would need to be way up here at 202 before we would have considered an entry in SPXL. Okay, so we did the value zone. What else can we find in there? The official V4.2 DT DeepThought indicator. Same thing, we would click on that link and that'll bring up that box here. It would say add to favorites. It would be the DT indicator and it would look like this. These bands here, these are order blocks or outlier blocks. Those are telling you, in this case, they're below the price, so they're support. If there was some darker blue lines up at the top, those would be indicating resistance, meaning the price would have a hard time getting through it. The DeepThought indicator is also showing you these lines. These are your exponential moving average lines up here near the price, and we have a 200 simple moving average down at the bottom. And again, this is all some new terminology that you'll learn as you progress as a customer. I'm just going through it as an overview here. Now, your settings. Each indicator has some settings, right? So if you want, you can go ahead and screenshot this, but I'm also going to show you where you can get this for future reference as well in a previous video. And you'll also be able to watch this recording. And in the future, I think it'll go up tomorrow or Monday. There's a little delay with YouTube. So you'll be able to watch this again. So don't panic if I'm going too fast or if there's something you don't understand. All this can be watched later. Okay, you've got your indicators, you've got your resources. Let's see, where else would you need to know to go? Well, videos. All our content is recorded and it's posted, as I just mentioned that this video will be. A great place to go on YouTube is Ovtlyr Training with Joe. This includes all our videos, but they're also time-stamped and they're categorized as to the major topics that we discuss. The first place to go is the Ovtlyr How-to guides. So I've clicked on playlist. If I click on Ovtlyr How-to guides, it'll show me all the videos in there. These are going to be added over time and they're going to be topic based. So for instance, the first video, 001, is accessing the user guide. That's the same process I just showed you a minute ago. Video 2, quick 2-minute video, accessing Discord, and then the verify. So come back in here in the future and you're going to see a bunch of videos around minute, 2 minutes long, very topic focused. So that's an important playlist. Another important playlist is the Ovtlyr Training playlist. Here you're going to find a video that I just mentioned to you a second ago. Once it loads, there we go, Ovtlyr Training. Okay, we have previous Launchpad sessions. In this particular Launchpad session 001, we went through the exact indicators that I showed you, but we talked about every single setting. So for instance, in the DeepThought 4.2 indicator, we went through every setting and we talked about what they all mean, how you understand them, how you make sure that they're set to match what Chris is showing us online. So that's a great video. We also have a video here with a fellow university graduate. So myself, I graduated from the Alpha University session, and we have Charlotte, who graduated from the Bravo University session. We also have William, who is in the stage here with us. William graduated very recently from the Bravo session. Thanks for joining, William. It's great to have you here, man.
I'm glad to be here, and I love being able to observe you. You're doing a great job.
Real quickly, again, if anybody has any questions, remember, you can click the show chat button at the top right of your screen, and you can type into the chat. If you want to join the stage, meaning you want to be heard or be seen or both, you can click on the hand at the bottom of the screen, and that will let William and I know that you're interested in communicating with us. We will get a pop-up that tells us that, and we can invite you. Then you will get another pop-up that says you have been invited. And if you hit the green button, you will have to accept. And once you go through that, you'll be on the stage with William and I, and you can ask your question. We had some folks do that in this video. So if you're nervous about that process, you can watch it happen in that video. And if you come to our next Launchpad and you're feeling comfortable, join us on the stage. All right, another important video for you. Setting up your outlier charts like the pros. This again goes into those indicators and all the settings. It even talks about drawing on the charts, how you see Chris place his roll points and his sell points, his emergency stops. All those things are contained in this video. And again, it's nice to be able to slow the video down. You can do your half speed if you're trying to find a section in the video. Let's show you how to do that. So let's just click on this, setting up your charts like a pro. And because again, we're live, right? It didn't do what it was supposed to do. So I'm going to click playlists. I'm going to go Ovtlyr Training. And I'm going to try to open that video again. Set up your charts like the pros. Okay. As soon as it pops open, oh, William, man, I don't know if it's my internet connection or what, but Lord. So
you're the new Chris. You are the new Chris.
Okay. So again, what we're trying to show you here is how you get to a particular section in the video. Once the video comes up, you have this description area. If you click on the More button, it'll show you all the timestamps in the videos. So if you wanted to know how you add a roll point to the chart, you could just click this right here. It happens to be at the 17-minute mark. As soon as I click that, you'll hear myself and DeepThought talking, and we're showing how to add the lines on the chart. And so excellent way to go back and find out more about a topic you're interested in. Another set of videos that's important to you are, let's close this guy. Okay. If you wanted to find out how someone would learn from the very beginning what a stock is, all the way to the end of actually being able to find a ticker and invest in that ticker, maybe buy options contracts to actually be a trader, I would start right here, Alpha University. Inside this playlist, you'll see myself and DeepThought and all the Alpha students from the very first video where we knew nearly nothing, all the way down to the last video where we were graduating. Now, remember I said William is a Bravo graduate and so is Charlotte. You can see their entire process lesson by lesson as well. If you just click on Bravo University, from start to finish, there's nothing hidden. Like, we as students, we all ask questions. Sometimes they're out in left field because we don't know. And other times we're teaching Chris. It's fantastic. We heard from William and Charlotte during their lessons where they were telling us their trading plan. And we got to find out why they were choosing the signals they were choosing and why they realized some of them are successful. Some of them were something that they decided to pull out of their trading plans. And that's an important point because a trading plan is never set in stone. You always want to be learning and you always want to be improving. And you can see all those students doing that. You can see Chris doing it live, and they're all in these videos. Now, if you're more of an advanced customer and you're already into options and you know all the terminology associated with options like delta and theta and Greeks and expiration dates and all that stuff, you may find some great content here in the options trading playlist. Again, the video titles give you an idea of what is in the videos. Like for instance here, choosing an option contract. So this would tell me that most likely in this video, Chris has chosen a ticker, and he is going to talk about which options contract associated with that underlying ticker he might be interested in. It also goes into some of the more risky approaches with options and straddles and different legs, and again, all the advanced topics that unfortunately a lot of YouTube content providers just dive right into and confuse folks and get them set into a path of more likely failure, I guess you would say. So again, great videos to kind of protect yourself with and to learn more from. All right, William, do we have any questions yet?
I mean, we can let some people raise their hand or get into the chat and ask. I actually starred one about the outlier channels, but we can come back to those. I don't know if we want to go in more detail. I think a lot of people who are new are going to have some questions as far as, oh my gosh, what am I looking at? What do these numbers mean? And, you know, the one thing I'm going to have to stress to everybody is make sure you're watching Chris's videos. He live streams twice a day. Everything gets uploaded to YouTube a day or two later. And that's really where you need to spend a lot of your time. And I know it's a big time commitment to watch videos. Not everybody can do that. But you're going to learn so much from there. And just that's kind of how we all did it when we first joined. You know, you just see that same content over and over, and it really does beat it into your head. And then you know kind of what you're looking at. Again, like Joe said, click on every tutorial video, watch it multiple times, slow it down. If you're not sure, get in the Discord and ask questions. There's a million people in there ready to help you out.
So the outlier channels and market breadth question. So the video that's going to be great for you here is the Watch a Pro Trade Stocks video. And this is, once it loads here, this is essentially a reaction video. So this is Chris actually trading, but I'm slowing it down. I'm saying, look, Chris is going to pick an expiration, and these are the reasons he's picking the one that he's picking. Or Chris is he's focused in on a particular sector. This is the reason he's focused in on that particular sector. And again, each of the timestamps are called out in here. So mark this one for you to go back and watch, Paul. This is going to be a great one for you. And yeah, I mean, we even go into filtering the sectors themselves. Once we filter the sectors, we go into filtering out the stocks, and like the whole process. So definitely check that video. That's a good one for you. Now, could we go into, let's see, you're calling out the outlier channels in market breadth. Okay, so what you're referring to is not the dashboard page. This is the first page you get to when you open up Outlier from the My Account button. You're calling out the market breadth page. So that's over here on the right. When you hover over it, it'll say market breadth just to the left. If we click on market breadth, we want to make sure that we're in full stocks. When you see Chris trade and check his signals, he's always in full stocks market breadth. The other thing that he does that sometimes is hidden by his picture is at the bottom left, he takes this slider and he moves it all the way to the right. He's doing that because there's detail in here that you don't need on a daily basis. He's really interested in this section right here on the right. So he grabs this slider, he moves it all the way over until it's zoomed in. And so now he's looking right here. And what he's looking for is the green line's position compared to the orange line. Now the orange line is the 10-day exponential moving average. And the green line is the number of stocks with a buy signal versus a sell signal. So in this case, the bull list percent, so stocks with buy signal, is below the 10-day exponential moving average. So this would say they currently have a bearish market breadth, meaning if you're hoping the price of your stock is going to go up, it's not in a position to do that in all likelihood. So it's a bearish market breadth. You want this green line to be over the orange line if you're saying that you want to invest in something where the price is going to go up. So right now, you're not going to see Chris trade anything. Market breadth is bearish. It's below that 10 EMA. He wants it to be above it. Now, with that said, it's trending down. It's trending down quite evenly with the 10 EMA, right? So maybe next week we'll see a cross. Once we see that cross, you're going to see Chris go into his checking signals mode for plan M first. If we slide down to plan M, market signals for plan M, he's going to check the SPY bullish trend, the SPY bull signal, the heat map, and finally full stock spread. This is the one I'm just showing you. He's saying the bullish cross on the 10 EMA. He's going to go here and he's going to look, is this green line above the orange line? Has it crossed over? And when it does, that's going to be a go. Now, he didn't even get this far if all these other signals weren't also true. The SPY had to have a bullish trend. What does that look like? If we go to our dashboard and we type in SPY right here, we are going to look right in this area. We're going to be looking for a green background, so it's going to be this color. It's not going to be red. It's not going to be white. It's going to be green. And we're also going to have a buy signal. Well, right now we have a sell signal. We know that from this section. We know that from this section. And we also know that from this section. So this would need to be green. This would need to be green in order for this signal and this signal to be true. And the next thing he's going to check is the fear and greed heat map for SPY under 70 and rising. We use the same exact screen. So again, dashboard, SPY. We go down here to SPY, fear and greed. And we're going to be looking right here. So as I move my mouse to the right, check this number right here. If I go to yesterday, it was 45.58. If I go to today, it's 45.26. Now, it is under 70, but it's not rising. It's falling. It's because 26 is smaller than 58. So again, that signal is not going to be a pass. Now for Chris's plan, if any of these is a fail, he's not going to go with plan M. He's going to he's going to try another plan, which in this case would be plan ETF. So plan M failed. Can he get into plan ETF? He's going to check all his signals. He'll scroll down to the plan ETF section. Here we go. What are the signals? This column is for triple Qs. So it's your tech stop, it's tech stocks, if I remember right, it doesn't include financials. Or if he checks these and any of these are a fail, he'll go to SPY. And we're already talking about SPY, so let's just focus in on that one. So he's going to look for an uptrend in SPY. We already know there isn't one. A buy signal in SPY, again, we know there isn't one because we just checked. But then he's going to check the heat map. And what we know is the current value of the heat map is under 70. But it says it does not matter if the heat map is moving up or down. Okay. Well, that kind of fits the bill, right? We're under 70. Remember, look right here. We are under 70. It's at 45.26. And it doesn't matter which direction it goes. So, okay, that signal is a pass. Next thing we would do is use that value zone indicator that I showed you how to get a bit ago. And it says, are we between the 20 EMA and 2 ATR above the 20 EMA? In other words, are we in the green area? Well, we know we're not. Let me zoom in here. We know we're not because the price is way down here. We would need to have it up here. So nope, we can't pass on that signal. Next thing is order blocks. They need to be more than 2% away if they're 30 days old or older. And you see Chris use the DeepThought indicator for that. So I'm just going to show it again. And we would be looking for a blue box above our price. It would look like this box right here. So this colored box would be up here. Well, it's not there. So that signal would be okay. That signal would be okay. Would Chris trade it? Oh, excuse me. This would be okay. And this would be okay. But we have 3 signals that are not okay. So that tells us we would predict Chris would not trade SPY. And so that's how he would look through there. So what would he do next? He would go back and see which plan is left. This was no. This was no. So now he's going to sit in cash. Now, you see Chris trade SGOV when he's sitting in cash. And SGOV is a treasury bond. He does that because his broker doesn't have a settlement fund that gives him interest. A lot of brokers do, like for instance, if you're a Vanguard customer, they have a settlement fund. When you're not invested in anything and it's in the settlement fund, it's going to be earning interest. Well, for like Charles Schwab, in other words, you're using Thinkorswim, Tradier, those particular brokers, they don't have a settlement fund that's going to earn you enough interest to be, worthwhile. So SGOV is typically used. It's going to make you approximately 4%. You can Google whatever the latest interest rate is for that, but it's really a way to not have risk in the market and hold your cash until the market turns around. So things like the market breadth, right? When it turns around, when it crosses the over top of the 10 EMA, when this green line crosses over that orange line, for instance, that's just one of the signals. Now, a lot of folks have a hard time with this concept of sitting in cash, and they feel like they should be busy. One of the first things I learned when I started formally studying stock trading is that being busy is not the same as being profitable. You cannot sit in cash and invest in things and watch your money disappear, or you can sit in cash or sit in SGOV and have that money available to you when the market turns around, and then when the sector turns around, and then when you get a host of stocks that you can go and buy and actually have a chance at making money, as opposed to gambling. And when you're a professional fund manager, you want to do as few instances of gambling as possible. All right. Any other questions? Oh, I guess maybe I didn't talk about the outlier channels. Okay. We are in the market breadth tab. We talked about the bullish percent chart right here. There's also the Donchian channels or outlier channels. In the alpha playlist, so back here in YouTube, in the alpha playlist, there's videos where we changed the trading plan, and we changed it to include Donchian channels, and we refer to them as outlier channels. And in this playlist, you can find out why. Why was it important for us to add these signals to the plan, and how do they help us increase expectancy, increase our likelihood of success, of making money? And those are captured right here in this graph. So what this is pointing out is when these are gray and light gray and dark gray, it's suggesting to us that we don't have an increasing number of stocks with a buy signal. We do have an increasing number of stocks with a sell signal. When they're colored like this, that's telling us that I think it's over a 4-day period, the number of stocks with a buy signal is increasing and the number of stocks with a sell signal is decreasing. And so the signal here in Plan M that discusses outlier channels in the sector is referencing outlier channels here, as well as, for instance, let's look at the technology sector. Slide over to zoom in, as I taught you a minute ago. Right now we have not a signal telling us that the number of stocks with a buy signal is increasing. Looks like yesterday, yeah, we would have gotten that opportunity, but not today. And when we're looking at that signal, we have to keep in mind that the market itself needs to have that signal as well. So the market needs to have a value of 1 or a value of 2, and the sector needs to have a value of at least 1 for that signal. And again, this is all new to you, right? So it probably feels overwhelming. That's why you want to go back and you want to watch the Alpha and Bravo playlist, and you also want to watch those Ovtlyr training videos, because this is all spelled out. Much slower than I'm doing it now. I'm kind of giving you an overview. But yeah, we learned that the sector technology would need to have the greens and pinks here, but also the full stocks market breadth would need to have at least a 1. So over here on the right, these bars right here would need to have some color. You can tell, I can't capture it with my mouse, but if you look just at the left side of the red circle on my mouse, you see OC -1. That means, again, we do not have a +1 or more, +1 or +2, but so this signal would not be a go on full stocks market breadth. And so right here, we see the signal needs to be at least a 1, could also be a 2. All right, what else we got?
And if you go to the main page, Joe, can you go back to that for me?
This one?
Yeah, go to the main one, the very first icon on the upper right. So you'll notice this is an addition in the last several months as well, I believe. It'll actually highlight up above the actual chart. You're going to see a bunch S, OC, all that stuff. Those are going to be lit up. If those are lit up green, that's a go. If you see red, you need to stop a second and figure out. That's your dummy, so that gets you kind of started knowing whether or not those outlier channels are actually a go or not.
Good call out. And of course, don't forget, if you don't remember what these are, and you can hover over them, they give you a little name. But if you don't remember what each of those are, remember you can go back to the user guide and they call out that specific section of the chart and it tells you what every single one of those means. So feel free to go back and reference that as well. Okay, what else do we have? Yeah, any other questions? Again, if you want to pass us a question, you can click on your upper right of your screen, this show chat button, and you can type in your question. Or if you want to come on stage with us, you can raise your hand. That'll give William and I a notification that you want to join the stage, you want to be heard, and if you have a camera, you can be seen. And then we will invite you. And then you'll see a pop-up that says you have been invited and you can accept. So 2 options, you can type or you can join the stage with us if you have any questions. And you know, when you're new, sometimes you feel like your question is out in left field or you're not confident about your question or anything like that. But you know, everybody starts someplace, not a big deal. So let's say you come back with a question tomorrow and you need to know how to ask it. A great place to go is back in Discord and go to the training grounds, I like to call it. So the training category here has multiple channels in it. You have your welcome to Ovtlyr section. And in here is my recommendation on where to start. Your first trend trading steps with Ovtlyr is a video in the YouTube training playlist. For new folks, we have the last Launchpad video that we recorded a couple of weeks ago. Same exact video that you're sitting in now, except we just covered a couple of different things in that one. You can check that. Your user guides, and here's your Alpha and Bravo University links. So the Welcome to Ovtlyr channel is a great place to get my recommendation on where to start. And then the chat, okay? You have a question and you don't know where to ask it and you kind of feel silly maybe about your question. This is a great place to throw that question in. You see lots of questions from folks. It's a safe place. Don't feel concerned about your question. This particular person was asking, when we roll, do we still keep the original 2 ATR stop? This is maybe a little bit more advanced question. This person has probably been watching a lot of Chris's videos. But what I did was I replied with some video reference. I said, check out this video regarding changing stops with rolls. And I gave him a link to the playlist, and then I told him what video to check. And then within the video, I highlighted where he could go find the answer. Well, he or she could go find the answer. And so I didn't give the exact answer. I gave them the opportunity to learn the answer. And the reason I do that is because they can go back and they can watch that as many times as they want. They don't have to scroll through chat. They don't have to search. They, once you know where that video is and mark that down in your records, you can go back and you can find that later really easily. Another common one is, how do I get access to the live streams, especially the afternoon ones where you see Chris trade? The way you get access to that is looking for live stream links on the left in the trading channel. Once we click on that, you get all the weekly postings from April. For instance, the last one she posted as of today would be the John Zachary interview. This is a series where Chris is interviewing folks who have been successful with the U.S. Investing Championship, and he's hearing from them. I highly recommend these videos. I tell you, William, we have heard not only their process to be successful, but we have heard in some cases the emotional I guess you'd say the emotional path that they have taken to become successful and to trade their plan specifically as they have realized it can be profitable. And that was really important for myself. I've had trouble with the emotional part. Like, okay, man, I'm in this trade. It's going against me. If I just hold it another couple days, I think it'll come back, right? And that can be really hard for a new person or someone like someone just starting out. It can be tough to let those go. And so you work through the trading psychology, you understand and tell yourself that your plan tells you you're going to be successful if you follow it. And it's so cool to hear that from people who do this for a living and have made their own programs in some cases to train other folks. And what's your take coming out of those interview sessions?
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty eye-opening. A lot of them have been great conversations in general. It's really interesting to me to see Chris ask questions to somebody who has a plan and a different view of the market than what he does, and yet we're all still sitting here learning. If you watch one channel, you kind of do become conditioned to accept that that's the way to do it. And it's good to always be open and realize your plan can always be improved upon. And there's other people out there doing other things that are still making money. You hit the nail on the head with the psychology. The psychology is really the biggest thing to me. Nobody starts out that I know of as an extremely profitable trader. Most people are going to have to take their lumps. Unfortunately, that comes in the form of losing money. It's not something to get used, easy to get used to, but the best way to do it is, keep developing your plan, make sure that you're keeping a journal. When you have that data and you can start to backtest and see what you did right and what you did wrong, it makes it a lot easier to actually make those improvements. And then, again, practicing and actually taking some losses without blowing up your account is going to be the best thing for your own psychology. I can tell you personally, every time I place a trade, I'm always thinking of the downside first. Boy, I would love to make, thousands of dollars, but I also don't want to lose thousands of dollars. But the best way to do it is trade small or even start paper trading if you're brand new. And this will kind of at least get you in the habit of understanding the market, seeing what it does, and also learning to take those small losses yourself, which helps you psychologically kind of accept that it's inevitable that you're going to have to do that. But as far as all the interview series goes, I mean, I've just been impressed with the different plans that everybody has and how much psychology really plays a role in it. Because I think that that's really the biggest thing, and most traders will tell you that.
Yeah, I guess I really love feeling a connection to these folks, again, who have done this for quite a long time and they've made all the mistakes, and they're telling us what those mistakes were so that I don't have to make it again, but really getting kind of the human side of trading as well, that, like I said, everyone makes mistakes. It's really up to you to follow your plan. And once that plan has shown you that it can be successful and have a high expectancy, all you got to do is follow it. in one of the videos, we actually heard the interviewee say that, where he said, you know, my plan was working and I just let it run. I stepped out of its way and I just watched the money come in. That was cool to see. Going back to the live stream links, though, what you're going to look for is the post by April. She breaks these out in 2 sections, where you get the coffee with Chris, the morning shows, and then she has the trading room section broken out as well. These are those invitation only live stream links you hear Chris mention. As you're obviously an Ovtlyr customer now, you just hop right in here and you grab these links, and you get to see him trade live, and check his signals live and update his spreadsheet live. So excellent there. You brought up a point there that's a pretty common question, though, William. We get a recurring question about position sizing. In the Bravo University, Chris mentioned how he arrived at his risk level and the Kelly criterion. And so you're going to find that in the later videos here. At the moment, I can't recall which one it is, but it's later in the series where he tells us how he arrived at his particular percentage of risk. Let's see. Another good point for you is how you can get his historic trades. US Investing Championships playlist. Again, we're in Ovtlyr Training with Joe. We clicked on playlists. The US Investing Championships trades playlist has every single trade that he has put on, starting from January until now March. The latest video here, 21. And if you click on those videos, I don't know why it does that sometimes, William, but if you click on one of those USIC videos and you hop down to the description, it has all the timestamps, where in this case, Chris is talking about SoFi, he's learning about order flow ticker tapes, and then he's going into the deck. This is where he actually closed his SGOV order on, I guess it would have been Friday. We can fast forward to that section. We can also look at the slides themselves, and we can look at the spreadsheet. So let's do that. Let's pop into that spreadsheet. We can see right now he's got a 2.2% return, and his actual trades are under the main portfolio tab. So we can see where he sold that SGOV, and we can see where he bought it again this past Monday. So the 3rd or whatever day Monday was, the 3rd of March probably. And he shows how he populates the spreadsheet and everything that goes in it. And as you're populating it, there's one piece you want to make sure you do. You want to put in the reasons that you closed your trade. Because honestly, I have been in tickers and I don't even remember being in them. So if I don't write down why I got out, I cannot go back and ask myself, well, did I follow my signals correctly, or was there a signal that I should have taken when I traded OR? So I'll put my reasoning in here. Why did I close the trade? All right, let's see. Any other questions?
Yeah, and that's a great point, Joe. Try to be detailed in there for your exact exit criteria or whatever you're using, because like Joe said, once you've placed 30, 40, 50 trades, it's going to be a lot harder to remember each individual one, especially, a couple years later if you do ever want to go back and look at your early trades and see what you were doing wrong.
It says, do you share any draft of the spreadsheet? I haven't seen it yet. So what I'm reading to you is in the show chat button. This pops up on the right hand side of your screen, and it shows you all the chat that the folks here in this Launchpad have participated in. And the question is, do you share any draft of the spreadsheet? I haven't seen it yet. Okay, so you saw me open this sheet by way of any video created in 2026. The description area, this is the link. You don't forget, you can also get it in Discord. If you go to FAQ and member contributions, you can get the same spreadsheet right here. Okay, so 2 ways to get it. Your question is, do you have a draft of it? So what you can do is you can make a copy. If you go to File and make a copy, now you have the exact same spreadsheet that Chris uses, and you can make it your own. So when you make updates to it, you're not going to be affecting Chris's copy because you made a copy. So you'll have the exact same one that he's using, which is especially cool because when you go into your this page right here, where is it? The one that shows the graph, this one, you'll be able to show apples to apples your performance versus Chris's. And as you heard Chris say, he wants you to blow him out of the water. He wants you to be more successful than him. And, you know, that's always fun, right? If you're beating the teacher. But you'll be able to see your total number of trades and your return and what your win rate is and your proven edge and all that sort of stuff if you make a copy of his sheet. And again, file, make a copy, you'll be able to do that. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. Charlotte, did you have anything you wanted to add? I know you were, well, Charlotte and I are doing a little bit of a series here, William, where her and I are getting together and we're talking about her experience as a Bravo student. Let me show you where those videos are going to be posted. Right here, Ovtlyr Training. You can see, there we are right there. You can see in this particular video, I hear from Charlotte how she was trading before she met Chris and became an outlier versus how she trades now. And remember, in the Bravo videos, you got to see what her trading plan was and how it progressed over time. And you're also going to hear how she taught Chris one of the aspects that affected his trading plan. So again, watch those videos, the Alpha and Bravo University videos, and then come in here and hear right from Charlotte's mouth how her plan had changed. It's really cool. Okay, can you talk about backtesting? All right, in the future, there is going to be this amazing tool that's in development that's going to help you perform backtesting. What that means is you'll be able to put your trading plan into a tool as an outlier customer and add signals to it. And it'll go back in time and say, if you had taken this signal, how would that have affected your end of year profitability or end of 5 years or whatever your time frame is? That tool is going to exist, and it looks pretty awesome. It's getting there, but there's a ton of work that goes into it. So how would you test it now? And the university videos, you hear from Chris how he has historically backtested as I guess you'd say a non-technical expert in terms of like coding and programming. And I also would fit that bill. What he would do is he would go back and, let's say, almost like the red light, green light approach that you see him use in the videos, where he would say, if I had taken this sell signal up here, whatever the sell signal happened to be, and I sold at that price, how would that have affected my outcome? Or, if I was under, let's say, instead of the 20 EMA, maybe you would say the 19 EMA, right? Because we just heard about that in a previous video just this week. If this was the 19 EMA, how would that have affected my outcome if I took that signal? So what he's doing is a very manual process where he's looking at his charts and he is finding where the signal he wants to test is and pretending that he took that signal. So again, super manual, but there's going to be a tool in the future for outlier customers to kind of automate that.
Yeah, that's a great thing too, Joe. Outlier just keeps improving. You've been around for a little while now. I've been around a little over a year myself, watching all the videos and the live streams. And I'll tell you, it's amazing the progress that we've seen in the platform just over the last year. I mean, last year alone, I think we had 3 or 4 major updates, right? I don't even know what version we're on now, like 4?
Yeah, they're constantly
and it just
updating,
keep getting
and
better.
they listen to the customers too. And like, for instance, the
100%.
the outlier channels, this came about largely because of the customers saying we need a more visual indication of what the signals are. And so even these will improve over time as signals change. You'll see the product itself be updated. And as Greg said, it's only 82 cents a day, so it's still blows me.
Yeah, you're not going to find a cheaper. You're not going to find a cheaper platform that gives you all this. I haven't found anything.
It's amazing how cheap it is, quite honestly. And it was cheap enough for me that when I first started watching Chris's videos, and I could tell that he wasn't, just talking for the sake of trying to sell something, and he was actually promoting a good product, I was like, I'm going to be a subscriber. I'm going to pay the $300 or whatever it was and use it and prove it out. And I tell you what, man, it's changed my life for sure. And I'm sure most of the folks here in this audience have seen that in in the live recordings, how much of a success you can have with it. Where can we learn more about the value zone indicator? Well, if you hop over to the, I believe it's the setting your outlier charts up like the pros. Yeah, I do not know why it does that. Playlist, Ovtlyr Training. Set up your charts like the pros. I'm pretty sure we go right into the value zone
over the top of those.
Okay.
Let's see. Ovtlyr Value Zone indicator right here. So at the 54-minute mark, you will hear about the value zone indicator. And a little bit later in the video, you will hear about the 20 EMA. You'll hear about 3 ATR above the 20 EMA. So really, we dive into that indicator. And if you don't know which one that is, it's this guy right here, Ovtlyr Value Zone. We even go into the settings of that indicator in that video. And again, if you came in a little bit late and you're wondering how on earth do I get the value zone indicator, you head right over to Discord. You click on FAQ and member contributions, and then you drop down to TradingView. Inside TradingView, you will have a bunch of training that you can take, tutorials. How do I use TradingView? How do I do some scripts? Essential drawing tools, more tutorials about TradingView, and then the value zone indicator itself. You just click on that link right there and add it to your chart. You'll get this red line, this orange line, this blue line, this black line, and the brown one here, and you'll get this green highlighting, and it's telling you in this area right here, it's reasonable to expect that the price is, trending up, moving up. You're not outside of expectations. And, it's trading, right? Nothing's guaranteed. These indicators are trying to help you find the trends. The order block indicator from Thinkorswim does not seem to match the TradingView indicator. That is a fact. Yeah, you see Chris not necessarily paying attention to the order block box here, and not necessarily paying attention to these colored blocks. Yeah, right there. It's disappearing on me. So you see the block for like half a second. We need another one. We need another one. I need a ticker that has some order blocks, William. There we go.
I think the SPY might have some on there. Okay.
I don't know why. Why is it disappearing?
There we go.
Huh. Maybe I just need to zoom out. Okay. I don't know. Why is it disappearing? Huh.
Yeah, that I can't answer. The order blocks have been a little bit of an ongoing improvement. They were part of, I think, the last edition or the last update, and I know Mahesh had some issues with them initially, and they're in there now, but I would just be patient with those. Continue to use TradingView or whatever your charting software that you use in addition to Ovtlyr. I think you're going to get a little bit more out of that, especially if you're in TradingView or TOS and you're using the DeepThought indicator. Everything's in
definitely.
there.
So what I was hoping to show you was Chris does not pay attention really to the order block, outlier block indicators inside the software. And the reason is it's a work in progress, just like William mentioned. So what you do see him use, though, is the DeepThought indicator, the DeepThought 4.2 indicator, and he uses those order blocks. So somebody just mentioned Palantir. Let's pop that open. When you look at Palantir, you get these blue and I don't know, whatever, blue. Those boxes there, those are the order blocks. This says...
those are green, Joe. Those are green.
The price is going to have a hard time getting through this level right here. So Chris is seeing this is resistance. He's also seeing that this box exists, which means the price is going to have a hard time dropping below that price. So we have some support, we have some resistance, and these are the order blocks. So you see Chris use TradingView and the DeepThought indicator to show where his order blocks are. And in the signals, when we're looking at order blocks right here, when the stock needs to be more than 2% away from an order block at any age for this particular signal, he's referencing these blocks. So the distance between the current price and this box needs to be more than 2%. In this case, it's 22%. So that particular signal would be okay. And it mentions any age, so the age of this block doesn't matter. If you want to measure that age, you can just pop over here to the beginning, pop over here to today, and you see the number of days, number of hours, number of days. Let's see. Well, we are over our hour, aren't we? Let's go ahead and close it out. Again, watch those videos, use the user guide, and follow the live stream links section because there's going to be more of these launch pads. You can come to as many of these as you want, right? They're totally for you folks. And you'll see those posted here from myself. I usually say the date and the time and then distance from market open to kind of overcome the time zone trials that folks work through. So, William, thanks a lot for joining, man. I appreciate it. And thanks for all the folks.
Yeah, thanks for the
all
invite.
the folks who came in the audience here. Really appreciate you. Like I said, definitely come again and have your questions. If you don't remember that you can post them in the training room chat right here. You can feel free to post them in there and you'll get answers. Yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and close it out. So thanks for everybody for coming, and we will see you next time.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.